Welcome to the Successful Woman podcast, where we interview inspiring women from around the globe, each week taking you to the next level of your success. And welcome to the Successful Woman podcast. And today, we have a treat for you. We're starting off 2023 with an incredible woman who's coming to speak with you. Her name is Martina Rios. Welcome to the show, Martina.
Thanks, Joanna, for having me.
It's wonderful to have you. And they say the early bird catches the worm. And for all of you that are listening to this podcast, that is entirely true. But before we get into what we're going to be talking about today, which is getting ready to define 2023 success, I just want to introduce Martina to you. She's an empowerment mentor and a coach that helps women to transition through life changes so they can step into their confident best self. She's on a mission to help women break through their limits and empower them to lead themselves with courage and authenticity, whether that's in her work or her personal life as well. Her clients are drivers in the story that bring them to work with her. Some are transitioning careers, others are shifting life roles, but all have one common goal, which is to empower themselves to move forward with life, feeling confident, worthy of success, and learning more about how to show up authentically while letting go of emotional attachment to the old stories that keeps one stuck. Martina was born in Switzerland, but her heart was set on living in Australia on the Gold Coast, where she's recently moved and is loving the thriving business community in the area. Martina, I can see you are the perfect start for the Successful Woman for 2023. I'm very, very excited to talk about everything with you. But before we get started, I have to ask you, as I ask every woman that comes on the show, success, it's a big piece, and everybody has a different definition of what success is to be. So I'm curious, what is success to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, at this time of the year, I always do a bit of reflection first and then define my intention for the next year. So success is personal, and in that sense, for next year, my success definition is different than what it was the year before because it's fluid. And one intention that really came out for me was to spend more quality time with my partner and with my son that I'm gonna meet in not too far away in a month's time. And so it's just quality time in family. And once I focus on this intention, I know that the supportive elements are just byproducts, right? Like a business that supports me on that journey is really important, that I have a life balance. So I want to spend more time with my partner and my son. So therefore, some holidays would be great too. And this year, I want to invite this softness after the last couple of years where we, we're overcoming COVID and investing into business and work. So just a bit more quality time and stepping into that fresh energy of flow.
I love it.
But of course, for my business, I have a financial figure goal, and that's obviously there too.
And it's great that you add that, because I think a lot of people shy away from the tic-tacs of, the nitty-gritty and the numbers. And so it's great that you've got this beautiful quality time with your family and really clear financial goals. And it's okay to have both. And I think that that's just being able to say that's really important too. So Martina, you clearly have done a lot of reflection. And it's the time of year where a lot of ladies out there may have been doing the same. And they might be looking back on last year's results, and maybe it wasn't all that. Maybe it wasn't actually what they'd hoped for. And so they're looking for some change. But what do you think is a defining tool in the success when you go through that process of traversing the process of moving forward with optimism? Perhaps if last year was challenging, how do you do that? What is the tool? What's the process that you use to move forward into 2023?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think the last couple of years have been challenging for a lot of people on different elements and levels. So I do still think gratitude is an instrument that really can help you to look at your life or the year with more positivity and optimism, because you can honor the wins, and you can also find the growth opportunities in the challenges, and you'll see that you're always moving forward, because the moment that we're learning really in those challenging situations, and they prepare us also for those good moments and making the right decisions when we are asked so in future, especially on a business journey. So understanding that we are always moving, right, is one thing, and accepting what is, and then take the good, take the bad, and learn from it. That's the biggest message, and that's part of a growth mindset anyway, right? Because there is no failure, there is only growth opportunities. And if you can learn to, I guess, find something that an insight in those reflections that you have, that's really good. Like, I mean, even conflict teaches us how to be more diplomatic in business or in leadership, and so reflection is really important. But you have to be also prepared to be honest when you're reflecting with yourself, and step into a space of vulnerability, because I think that's where you really find the golden nuggets of what might be holding you back. And reflect on repeating patterns, and ask yourself the questions: where am I hiding myself? And have these honest conversations with yourself and find those golden nuggets. We all have them, the blind spots that we kind of protect ourselves from. But if you can step into that deeper reflection, that's a great tool.
I love it. So real, raw, honest conversations with yourself. And, just that, it sounds like a simple thing to do, but the mind is an incredible thing, isn't it? And the stories that we tell ourselves, and the things that we choose to believe, and the things that we choose not to believe or to see in our life. And so just mastering that honesty with oneself, particularly if it's painful or difficult, or reflects things about yourself that perhaps you're disappointed with or you want to change. But I loved what you talked about in terms of the gratitude for always moving forward. And you talked about accepting the good and the bad. And there's a saying that I love, and it says, experience is not always kind, but she sure is thorough. And and it's, I think it's also, as we get wiser and as you move through life, you really begin to embrace the benefit of hindsight, as opposed to beating yourself up about, whatever it is that you may or may not have done. So I love it. Deep, honest reflection with yourself. And that's a perfect segue into the next thing that I want to talk to you about, because limiting beliefs. I know that you help a lot of people with limiting beliefs, but a really basic question: what are they? How do you spot them? And what do you do with them when you do?
And I'd love to have this like really simple, quick solution how we overcome our limiting beliefs, but it is a bit of a complex subject. However, just looking at it from a cognitive perspective, it's actually, there is tools and mind hacks that can help us to work through them, and everything starts with self-awareness. So limiting beliefs are just beliefs about ourselves that hold us back from our full potential. That's my sort of definition, right? Because our mind lets us, do things as far as we believe we can. So the more we expand our self-awareness, the more we actually can understand. So the number one step is to really listen to our self-talk. How are you talking to yourself? Are you kind? Are you optimistic? Are you empowering? Or are you limiting a negative to yourself? And what you mentioned then just there is like, what is the story that you're telling yourself day in and out about yourself, about your life, about your capabilities? Because that's the story that you're defining yourself by. And most people define themselves by a story that's originated in the past and has been influenced by the past, but it's not really the best way to do it, because if we are planning for next year, we got to define ourselves by what's the story we want to tell ourselves for this new year, for the next 5 years, of who we want to be and who we want to become, right? Because just because you had a failed relationship doesn't mean you're bad at relationships. And so we need to learn to shift our perspective and reframe situations so they serve the purpose and the path that we want to take. And it's definitely not easy. I mean, it's like going to the gym, building a muscle, right? We have to practice these mind hacks for ourselves, and the positive talk, and catch ourselves in the self-awareness. And we have to be patient. And when I work with clients, I'm really like, making them aware it's not a quick process. Nowadays, we want to just have a quick fix for a lot of things. And so we need to be patient with ourselves. And the results are guaranteed though, because we're talking here about science. Neuroscience, neuroplasticity has shown really that we can absolutely reframe our ways of thinking, and a lot more, which is obviously exciting and brings back the power to ourselves. So we can totally change how we think and believe about ourselves. And like Henry Ford said, right? Whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right.
You know what I just find amazing, because as you were speaking, that quote came to mind. and it's a simple one, and it's so true. And yeah. I think, what I really loved is about creating a new story for you for this year. So for all the ladies out there, is 2023, what's the story that you want to write in the chapter book of your life this year? And I think that patience and the time that you talked about is so true, because, a lot of these thoughts are very deeply ingrained. And so it takes a conscious commitment to rework and rewire and to reprogram your mind with what you actually really want to believe and create. And I don't know about you in the work that you do, but I see it a lot, is that, as you say, people want the quick fix. They want to have one session and be healed. And the truth is, with the mind, it's a lot more complicated than that. And it takes often, time can even take a year, to really reprogram things to the point that you're happy with. But I'm curious, with working with so many people, is there a common set of obstacles that you see affect women, right? We're gorgeous and beautiful and majestic creatures. But, from having your experience of working with many people, do you find that there's a common theme that's like, for most women, it shows up? And what is it?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for asking this question, because, I do focus working with women. And it's just my purpose. I'm passionate about helping women to step more into that inner power. And a lot of that has to do with also, systemic gender biases and stereotyping. And there's a lot. I know you work with women in business. I mean, there is a lot of that likability biases we have to overcome. So it's a big, big subject. But when you break it back down to those core beliefs or limiting beliefs, it actually always comes kind of to the same theme. And one of the themes is self-worth, self-love, and self-doubt. So women do tend to undervalue themselves. We're not putting our hands up for opportunities as much as we should. We sometimes step back instead of leaning into new opportunities, or we're not feeling deserving. And we need to take responsibility for that kind of behavior. And again, it's just bringing in an awareness of your own behaviors. And a lot of this comes obviously how we've been raised, and in cultural and social life roles and plays that we are, but understanding that we are different to a male gender, but also knowing yourself more and trusting your innate gifts and your authentic strength. So confidence, obviously, you've said that in my intro, is a big one. I think we all would like to be more confident, and even though confidence is an attitude, it really, once you actually know who you are and you accept yourself and you surrender to it, and you start integrating that self-love and self-worth for yourself, confidence is kind of like a byproduct of it, right? Because you're standing in your authentic self. So that's allowing yourself to be a powerful businesswoman. That's one theme too. Like we like to give someone else the stage and step back very often. So these are sort of themes that I'm observing a lot with women. The key is not to trying to pretend to be someone we're not. It's really to just leverage of the fullest version of who we are and embrace those. And again, we don't have to stereotype women either. Like some women are more driven by female energy and some more by male energy, and both is good. I mean, as long as you just owe yourself that version of who you are.
I love it. So I think the big thing is this self-love, self-doubt relationship, which is absolutely huge. And I think there probably isn't a woman on the planet that at some point isn't juggling those two things, because they're always on the move, right? But you said a few things. You talked about authentic strength, which I really loved, because I was having the conversation with another incredible lady the other day, and she was talking about the preconceived ideas of what strength is, and bringing our feminine strength to things as opposed to the idea of a masculine strength. And so it was a very interesting conversation that she and I were having. So and you coupled it with the word innate gift. And so, there's always an authentic strength in your innate gifts is what I take out of what you share. And it leads back to the opening conversation, which is, those honest conversations with yourself, right? And those honest conversations with yourself are not just about where you mucked up or things you would want to change, but also about who you are and what you're great at doing too, right? And really beginning to embrace and to share those things. So, it's a full loop around. And the confidence circle, wow, yes, that is something that's ongoing, I think, for most women, in whether it be their personal life or their professional life, and can be a huge challenge. There's this idea of confidence, but then there's a self-confidence, right? Like that inner confidence that you feel about yourself. And that's often different to how you present to the world, because you might be presenting as if everything's fine, but inside you feel like you're, caving in. So it's that authentic strength, your gifts, your conversations you have with yourself. I mean, they're all interlinked. So the ladies out there, when they've really thought about, okay, 2023 is an opportunity for me to turn the book and have a blank page, and I'm going to write the next chapter of my life story moving forward. How do we make it stick, right? Because this is the time of year where everybody's full of great ideas, and I'm gonna, right? But we want to make sure that they actually do, because we want to make sure that, they get the results that that they really deserve, to be true. So let's talk about that. What's the key to that process, to taking something from just an idea to really bringing it into reality and landing it, really landing it, making sure that it happens in the follow through?
Yeah, absolutely. So the formula that I coach for goal setting is be, do, have, which I'm sure you've heard of. And Steve Covey obviously popularized it 3 decades ago, so it's not very new, but still not many people apply this kind of strategy. And the first step is to actually set a meaningful goal, right? Like understand what's the intention behind it. What are you Why is it important to you? Because purpose-driven motivation obviously is the most effective one. And so getting clear on what are you trying to achieve with maybe that success in business that you're seeking. And is it because you're wanting to make a positive impact? Is it because you're looking for a lifestyle change, and so on? But the most important question is, who do I need to become to step into that version of that person that already has achieved this? How would that person behave? What thought patterns or what decision-making tools would that person have? What mental models do I need to take on and work on? Like, it's like setting up your mindset for success is actually the key part of it all before you're going out and taking any action. Because if you're taking action based on who you are right now, then you're kind of looped into the same behaviors and habits. But if you're starting to identify who you need to be and then take action from that person and version, then you're actually growing, and then you're pushing yourself outside of the comfort zone and committing to that new version and that story that you're writing for next year. So the question is, who do I need to become first in order to achieve my goals? And 80% is mental strategy and only 20% is the doing. And that's also kind of this, the strategy behind doing more efforting and all of this that just, creates burnout and keeps us stuck.
I love it. So be, do, have, and who do I need to become? So, I mean, the most amazing news is that not only do we get to write the next chapter of our life this year, we actually get to create the character of who we become in this incredible story that we're writing. And you shared a really interesting concept about, how we create, because if you always do what you've always done, you're always going to get what you've always gotten, right? So you're talking about making that shift, that mindset shift, into really becoming the woman that you want to be in order to achieve those things. And so there's almost like a pull, isn't there? There's like a drawing towards, as opposed to a push. It's the change from pushing towards something to pulling towards something, because you can make clearer decisions. You know what to do. You're able to, understand your priorities, because you're able to think like that person would be. And that's a fascinating process that you can do, really building a new avatar for yourself around who you want to be. And the more that you are that person, then the more that you become that person. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about believing again in yourself first, and seeing yourself actually walking and achieving those goals as well before you have achieved them.
Yeah. And I suppose this is the part where the self-doubt comes in from the side, right? Like the self-doubt's like, hold on a minute. This is new. This isn't who you are. You're not this person yet. I'm not sure that you can do these things. And so, you really got to feed that self-love of, well, yes, I can. And if I believe in this, and if I, committed to this and keep working at this, well, then that's who I'm going to become. So it's that self-doubt, self-love conversation, right? Having two things on the side while you're going through this process.
Absolutely. Well, I'm actually doing a strategy session at the moment, one-on-one 90 minutes. What we look at there when we go to the be, do, and have model is also we actually identifying some subconscious success blockers that could pop up, and then we prepare for them, right? Because it's good to be prepared and know what might be holding you back, and then start building a strategy around it. So when it shows up, you're already kind of prepared for it.
Absolutely. I love it. I was listening to David Goggins' Never Finished the other day, and he was talking about the preparation that he does for his races and how he does exactly that. He prepares for the moment when he's beyond his heart rate, and his body, his physical body, is going to send his brain into panic. And so he's preparing mentally for that moment so that he can break through that physical challenge and keep going with the race. So, preparation really, really is key. So how can the ladies online find you? So you've got this incredible strategy session that you're offering. How can they find you? We'll put some information in the link as well. Doesn't matter if you're listening to this after January 2023. This is good work to do any time of your life. So we'll make sure that we put the information down. But how can the ladies online find you?
So most centralized website is martinarios.com, and that's really the first point of contact. You can book in a clarity session with me or look at the different program service options. But if you're interested in the 90-minute strategy call, which is definitely at this time of the year really, really great to do, I have a booking link that's directly taking you to the booking website, or you can contact me via my website, of course. But I'm sure I've probably shared the link for that strategy session with you.
Amazing. Well, Martina, thank you so much for helping us get the context on always having gratitude for the things that we're learning and embracing that growth and opportunity to have honest conversations with ourselves, and really getting clear about the beliefs we have about ourselves and our current relationship with self-love and self-doubt and how that affects our confidence, and becoming clear about setting purposeful goals and really establishing the be, do, have model for moving yourself forward. And finally, I think the biggest takeaway is just be prepared. Okay, ladies, like be prepared, right? So preparation is key. And it doesn't matter if it's the beginning of the year or if it's ongoing, being prepared to understand, what are your authentic strengths? What's your innate gifts? And are you sharing them with the world? And do you need to work with a coach like Martina to get some clarity on what those things might be? So we're wishing you an amazing birth and a beautiful celebration when you get to meet your son, and all of the beautiful quality time that you and your family deserve. It's so precious. The first couple of weeks after birth is like just so precious. You're in a complete bubble. You're going to love it. It's an amazing thing. So wishing you wonderful joy and beautiful happiness there, and all the best for 2023.
Yeah. I think it'll be a great one for everyone.
I think so too. I feel like a really good positive shift is coming, and it's about time, right? The last couple of years they've been kind of tough, so it'd be good to have positive shift around the world.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Martina, and for those of you online, be sure to tune in next time when we have another incredible woman come and talk to you on the Successful Woman podcast, redefining success and sharing their insights with you. In the meantime, all the best for 2023. We want to thank you for joining the Successful Woman podcast today, the international initiative that empowers women to create the life and lifestyle that they truly desire. We would love for you to connect with us on our Instagram or Facebook page, or join our group, We Are Successful Women. And remember, there are as many definitions of success as there are women on the planet.